The first session will be done by Mr. Ramesh Padmanabhan, who is the Director of Red Hat GLS, India and SAR. The topic that he is going to cover is career advancement through Red Hat technologies. Now, a few description about Mr. Ramesh Padmanabhan. He is the Director of Red Hat GLS, India and SAR. He has about 25 plus years of experience in IT industry and has worked in companies including Ementia, Aptech, IIST, Wipro, HP, Quint, RPS, and now currently is in Red Hat. He has started as a lecturer and then moved on as a faculty, tech head, center head, senior trainer, implementation specialist, POC specialist, delivery head, and later he's moved on to a sales job. For the last 15 years, he has been purely into sales and worked in the capacity of country head, country manager, CEO, and director. His primary skills are customer focus, customer satisfaction, CSAT, on-field, and never say no attitude for any challenging situation. He is also among the motivational speakers addressing several occasions in the IT industry. He believes in do your basics right with hard and smart work. He insists on excellence, which has been the main reason for his success. Over to you, Mr. Ramesh.
Thank you very much, Sijin. This is really wonderful setup as well as the wonderful introduction of myself. So good evening, all of you. We are from Red Hat, as you all know. Red Hat company and why Red Hat and things like that is what we want to start with, and then I'll come to the different technologies and then how you can upgrade yourself to become a Red Hat technology-based specialist. So Red Hat as an organization started in 1993. It's almost like 28 plus years as of now. And we are based out of 105 locations, working out of 40 different countries and 85 different offices. So close, based on today's data update I have, we are crossed 70,000 people, based out of Relay as a headquarter, but the state or the United States city is basically North Carolina, and we are said to be the number one open source technology company in the world. So what is the reason? What is the difference between number one and number two? Number two company is 10 times smaller than us, or we are 10 times larger than number two. So this is a huge gap, and why this gap, we will come to know about it. At least 90% of the Fortune 500 companies are working with Red Hat technologies and Red Hat based solutions. We provide almost like 80 plus products which are adopted, or it could be solutions many a times. And to upgrade yourself from the knowledge point of view, we have about 60 plus courses and 49 certifications. So once upon a time, this company was called as a community-based organization, open source community-based organization. And today we are very proud to say that we are an enterprise company. So from the community-based to enterprise, what is the journey? How did we move on? So today we are very proud to say that we work with more than 1 million projects across the globe. 1 million, that's huge. So that's where we evolved and came about adopting more and more technologies and more products by giving them the name of tag called as Red Hat. So basically all these products starting from Red Hat Enterprise Linux, it could be, or a virtualization, OpenStack platform, storage, satellite, middleware, or OpenShift, Enterprise Linux, Core OS, it could be, or cloud platform, Ansible automation platforms. All these platforms were evolved by adopting them by Red Hat and giving the Red Hat tag, and then many other subdivision products comprising of these many products is what these 1 million projects are getting worked upon. And because of these 1 million projects, we are consistently providing subscription solutions. So we are basically a subscription company, and the operating system or the product or the license, we don't charge anything. We only charge for subscription for a given period of time. So you might be recently aware that Red Hat is acquired, maybe about 2.5 years back. Red Hat is acquired by IBM as an organization. Yes, but still Red Hat remains Red Hat. The Red Hat entity and the identity does not change. We are still Red Hat. So there is no difference, because you may have an apprehension in your minds. So if I get Red Hat certified and this is already acquired by IBM, what happens to my certification? So absolutely no need to worry. all Red Hat certifications, and the Red Hat as a company, Red Hat as a brand still remains as Red Hat irrespective of whether it's acquired or not acquired. So in Red Hat, the learning services where we are talking about training plus certification, the GLS, we call it as Global Learning Services. Under Global Learning Services, we have about 100 plus partners in India, which includes IPSR as one of the organization where Dr. Mendes is hosting this particular event. So similarly, these partners are not only limited to India, because I handle not only India but also few SAARC nations, including Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan. So the 60 different courses that we offer are categorized under 4 different products. Linux platform, that is the core basis of Red Hat as a company to stand. But as on date, we have developed into multiple other technologies, which includes application development, which is primarily called as JBoss, cloud computing, which is also called as OpenStack, and DevOps. In DevOps, there are multiple tools that we work upon, predominantly on Ansible, containers, Kubernetes, and OpenShift. So we offer training programs on any of these 4 verticals, and each of these 4 verticals leads to some of the other certification, almost like 45 plus certifications that we have. We also work with a lot of colleges where Sijin had named a few colleges in the list now. So those all colleges are Red Hat academies primarily, and we work with more than 700 colleges across India, and also work with certain universities. Either it could be a deemed university or a autonomous body. While talking about how does Red Hat deliver trainings, yes, we have multiple different ways of training. It all starts from classroom training, the conventional or the traditional way, where there is a student, where students, there are faculty, there is infrastructure, everything happens under single umbrella. That was the classroom training, and sometimes we go to the customer place and deliver the training, which is also called as on-site trainings. So of late, this was the conventional. If you ask me, in India, more than 90% of the trainings used to happen either in the classroom or on-site. Because of COVID in the recent past, we have to let go those classroom trainings because we are unable to meet physically. That's where virtual trainings evolved. Today, I'm very proud to say that Red Hat is 100% virtual. Everything can be delivered remotely, and there is no need of physical intervention at all. Even we have video classrooms where a pre-recorded sessions are available. Students can go through it and then learn by themselves. Or a group of such type of video classes, we call it as learning subscription. And somebody says, I don't need a video classroom, I just need a reading material and a labs to practice. Then we call it as online learning. So even while we are conducting the exams, earlier we used to conduct the exams in the classroom mode, but in the latest development from almost like a year plus, so we are doing remote exams. Of course, from almost 5 years, we have individual testing center based exams. So these are the different types of exams and trainings that we conduct. So why Linux? What is the importance of Linux? Linux, Unix, these are all some of the terminologies that you would be listening for the first time in the recent last 1 or 2 years. Why should I learn Linux when I have so many operating systems in the market? Yes, I agree with you. Let us talk about a little background about this Linux as an operating system. This Linux operating system, the core or the base, or we also call it as kernel. The kernel of the Linux operating system was written by a person by name Linus Torvalds way back in 1991. So this was released in internet as a free of cost downloadable. Anybody can use it. This was primarily a computer based operating system. So it's an open source software. What is the difference between open source and a closed source? Where a source code is allowed to change in any application or an operating system. When the source code is allowed to change, then it is called as an open source, whereas a source code cannot be changed. That is primarily called, it's locked, it's a closed source. So this particular operating system, Linux, is an open source operating system. It can run on any hardware, even the low-end hardwares it can run. But primarily this particular operating system was used more on servers and systems with embedded processors. So this was found to be one of the fastest growing operating system in the last 1 decade. And today I can say very, very proudly, Linux is used everywhere. Let us come to know from where all it is used. Like Red Hat Linux, we also have some other distributors of Linux, which includes Debian or Ubuntu, Fedora, OpenSUSE. But Red Hat Linux stands for enterprise version. These are not, I mean, all other versions could be end user versions or the desktop based operating systems, but Red Hat Linux is primarily a enterprise version. So where is Linux? You might be keen to know where is this operating system used. So you can see this picture. This picture is a very, very simple picture. Right hand side bottom, you can see a car. So any Ola, Uber, or any of the online service provided for car support or supporting a car service or hiring a car service, the entire hiring system, the management system of those types of Uber, Ola is run on Linux platforms. Today, you go to any bank, it could be an online banking system or starting from a state run or an India country run or an international MNC, maybe ICICI Bank or a Citibank or a IDBI Bank, or you take state run companies like Canara Banks, Corporation Banks, or State Bank of India. Every bank is today running on Linux platforms. Electricity board, any part of the world you go and check how the electricity board runs, the operating system used there is Linux. High-end cars, machine learning is introduced in high-end cars to automate a lot of processes. The entire automation of the car system inside a car is run by Linux platform. Navigation systems, if you go to any navigation system, especially when you're going across the sea where you are relying more on north, south, east, west directions, that's where Linux operating system plays a major role. Get into the pharmaceutical industry. In pharmaceutical, how many tablets has to be manufactured, when, where, what is the distribution challenges, how many distributors, the entire system is taken care and managed by the Linux operating system. You go to telecommunication organizations, it could be Vodafone or Airtel, even in the manufacturing industries of Ericsson or Nokia, there again, Linux is used as one of the most important. Transport, for example, if you go into the flight industry, where how the navigation of flights, what's the altitude of each of the flights, or get into ISRO, where we have the satellite launching and satellite management systems or rocket launching, every place, every other place. I will give you more and more details. Every other place, if you look at, Linux is one of the topmost used product in the market today. So this is the reason why I'm insisting Linux is very, very critical. So let's assume we learn Linux and I become certified in Linux. I mean, this is the general question every college student will have. What type of jobs are available? So in Linux, in Red Hat, the first level training certification is called as Red Hat Certified System Administrator. So you mean to say, am I going to be a system administrator? Not exactly. Even people who are working in artificial intelligence, or it could be machine learning, deep learning, cyber security, Internet of Things, cloud computing, DevOps system engineers, or it could be full stack developers, blockchain, VR, AR, software engineer, developer, or even edge computing, robotic process automations, which is called as RPA, even people who are working in UiPaths and things like that. Even in the last situation, even system administrators or network engineers. Everybody, if they're having Linux knowledge, it makes a major difference. So you can get into any of these job skill set, provided you know Linux operating system very well. So Linux operating system, the terminology says Red Hat Certified System Administrator is not necessarily a system administration job. Any of the jobs in these areas can be fetching you a job opportunity. Okay, when I learn Red Hat System Administration or Certified System Administration, what type of packages are expected in the early stages of my life? So average Linux system administration salaries in India is in the range of 4 lakhs plus. Some organizations like Cognizant, IBM, or Infosys might be a little higher range than 4 lakhs, maybe 4.25 or 4.6, 4.7, or it could be even 9.5 lakhs. These are all some of the job opportunities that are available, and these are not Red Hat websites. These are all Google sites. Now, the most important, what is the definition of certification? Why do we need certification? And without certification, what can happen? So let's assume I know how to drive a car. I know how to drive a two-wheeler. Am I eligible to go on the road? Yes, there is a fine. So I cannot drive a car till the time I have a driving license. Let's assume I want to go to a doctor. I know this gentleman knows everything about medicines and things like that, but I will not put my life into risk by lending my body in front of him, telling that, okay, you can test my body and do my blood pressure or blood tests and things like that, unless and until he is a certified doctor. When you get onto a flight, will you know that somebody, the pilot knows how to fly that particular flight, but he is not a certified pilot. Obviously, you will not enter. In the same way, when the company invests hugely on the data center, why will or how will they allow a resource to get onto that particular infrastructure or software and work on the software till the time they are certified? So this is very, very important. This certification that we provide from Red Hat, maybe it is Red Hat Certified System Engineer, Red Hat Certified System Administrator or System Engineer, whichever certification. These are all recognized across the globe. It's not that this is related to a particular country and things like that. Red Hat is a global company, so all our certifications are, and most of the OEMs, whatever the certifications that they provide, are global certifications. So whenever you are Red Hat certified, what are the benefits? You get hired much faster. Hiring, I'm absolutely sure that we are finding a lot of scarcity in certified resource in the market. There are many examples I can say. Certified resources are not available. The moment they are certified, they immediately place somewhere. Of course, their degrees are important. Once their degrees are certified, I mean, they have become an engineer or they're a degree holder, and then they have a Red Hat certification. Obviously, they are getting jobs much faster. Similarly, when they are retaining jobs in big companies like it could be Wipros or Cognizant, when they say, okay, I'm certified Red Hat, immediately they will retain them. It's not that they, even in COVID situations, when there is Red Hat certified resources, there were no pink slips to those people. The promotions or networking opportunities are pretty large. They also get to learn new technologies by knowing Red Hat technologies consistently. And there are a lot of partner programs, renewals and retention programs. Of course, in the industry, there is a lot of credibility being a Red Hat certified. So professional credibility will hold good. Every individual should have some personal goals by telling that, okay, I'm certified 3 certifications or I'm 7 certifications certified. So that I call myself as a Red Hat certified architect. And today, the requirement of professional, every professional requirement, every company expects that a resource who is a technical resource should be certified in the technology. You might have heard about many certifications, but why? What is the difference? How is it Red Hat certification completely different from other certifications? So our certifications, many of the other certifications are today conducted by a third-party organization. So always they outsource. Maybe you might have gone to write many other exams. Let me not name them. You go to Prometric Center or VUE Center, or you go to a Pearson VUE Center. But in Red Hat, you always go to either Red Hat or only will conduct the exam. Within your college also, Red Hat will come and conduct the exam, or you go to a testing center or you write exam in the remote. It's always a Red Hat proctor, Red Hat certified examiner who conducts the exam for you. So there's no third party involved. Secondly, our exams are not MCQ. MCQ stands for multiple choice questions. So our exams are always performance-based exam because we always believe in practical exposure to the student till the time he knows how to do it. Let me take an example. Let's assume one company is hiring a resource. Let me name that company as TCS. TCS is hiring a lot of resources. I apply. And let us take an example, particularly an example. TCS is hiring break dancers. So I'm a break dancer. I know how to break dance. I know how to do the break dance. So I go to the TCS organization and say, I want to apply. TCS says, okay, you want to apply? No problem. But do you have a certification in breakdance? So I say, sorry, sir, I don't have. So can you please get certified? Then you come and apply. We should be more than happy to take you. So I go to ABC Dance Academy and I tell them, see, sir, I know breakdance. Can you please certify me that I am a break dancer? ABC says, okay, please come. I will give you some questions. If you answer them, I'll be more than happy to certify you. The question number 1. Can you please identify which amongst below is a moonwalk step? So I see all the options. Option A, option B, option C, option D. I know option C is the correct answer. I tick the option C. This is called an MCQ, multiple choice question. So I am writing an exam for breakdancer. And I have been given a question in the form of an MCQ. Question number 2. Can you please show me out of the below pictures which one is a glass wiping step? So in breakdance there is a glass wiping step or a rope pulling step and things like that. So like that, by the end of 45 minutes I could answer 50 questions and I got 98%. Wow, I passed with 98%. All questions were MCQ. I go and give this certificate to TCS. TCS tells me, fantastic, you have got 98%. What's your job? Breakdance. What you should do? Morning, you should do breakdance in the data center. Afternoon, you should do breakdance in the conference room in front of your colleagues. And evening, you should do breakdance in front of the audience, in front of clients, in a seminar hall. This is my job, day in, day out, morning, evening, every day I should do this job. So with this MCQ exam, is there a guarantee that I know dance? Even if I know, will I be able to deliver this exam effectively? I'm not sure. Let's assume I go to Red Hat Dance Academy. Instead of going to ABC Dance Academy, I go to Red Hat Dance Academy. Then I say, sir, I need to certify because TCS is offering me a job. I need to have a certification. Okay, please come. Okay, I will give you a test, exam. If you clear the exam, I will give you a certificate. Fantastic. So what is the first question? As a Red Hat examiner, I ask him, can you please perform? No MCQ question, sir. Can you please perform moonwalk step and show me? Oh my God, this is a difficult task. Now the student, which is me, I have to perform. I have to physically do the step. So if I do incorrectly, Red Hat examiner will say, sorry, sir, unfortunately, your step is incorrect. Can you please practice for another 15 days and come back? So we are Red Hat certified examiners, Red Hat certified proctors. We don't allow you to write exam just like that. We don't pass you unless you know how, the practical knowledge, the lab-based exam, the performance-based exam, so every step. Now, instead of breakdancer, can you please replace the breakdancer with a certified system administrator? So if I'm certified system administrator from Red Hat, the world knows Red Hat conducts practical-based exam, the performance-based exam. We don't believe in just giving you a 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 75 minutes type of exam. Rather, we believe in a thorough 3 to 4 hours where you conduct a given exercise perfectly. We don't believe in giving 50, 75 questions. We only give 15 to 20 questions maximum. It's not that every exam, it could be classroom exam, practical based, kiosk based exam, practical based, even remote exams are practical based. And these certifications, as I mentioned, the world knows it. Even any individual, you just take the cert ID of the person, put it inside the website of Red Hat, you come to know how many times this person wrote the exam, which exam, whether it is active, and when did he clear the exam, which version he cleared the exam, every detail is available. So these are not very easy exams, they are a little tough. So we don't claim that if 100 people write exam, more than 90% of the people clear the exam. No. the percentage maybe only 65 people clear, but those who cleared certification, those who are really did a good performance-based exam, they are sure to work effectively in the companies. That is the reason why certified resources from Red Hat are literally not available in the market because they are already placed somewhere or the other. Okay, so it's not that only few certification exams are practical based and other exams are general MCQ. No, in Red Hat, every certification exam is a performance based exam. Not even a single exam is an MCQ exam. So which sector, what type of job will I get when I'm completing a Linux certification? There are multiple sectors. It may be internet type of jobs like Netflix, Amazon, GoDaddy. It could be finance sectors like banks. It could be insurance, healthcare, airlines, e-commerce, oil and gas, telecommunication, transport industry, online food delivery industry, government departments like Aadhaar card, IRCTC, Indian Railways, things like that. Space research, military and defense, information technology, or even product development organizations, ITES organizations. If you go to any of the organizations, any of the verticals, you still have job opportunities open for Linux certified system administration. Now, in the beginning of the presentation, if you remember, I said 90% of the Fortune 500 companies are relying on Red Hat technologies. Now I'm proud after taking you through these many details. You take any airline industry, 100% of the Fortune 500 airline industry relies on Red Hat. 100% of the telecommunication organizations today rely on Red Hat. 100% of healthcare companies, commercial banks, and many a times the government projects, all of them rely purely on Red Hat technologies. You can see this is how the world runs smarter with Red Hat Linux. Okay, it could be Android applications, any transport organizations today. It could be even in the film industry or the aqua industry. It could be. You look at the second row where there is a boy holding a globe. Below that, it's written Google, Amazon, and even Microsoft use Linux to power their cloud services. Even organizations like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they are all relying on Red Hat Linux operating systems. So this is the fun. This is how the importance of Linux operating systems today. So what's value add? I know most of you students are from engineering background, or you are all students, you are working, you are still studying in the college, you are still not completed your engineering and things like that. So whenever Red Hat also offers a lot of jobs, or maybe IPSR students has already got jobs within Red Hat. There are some people who are working in Red Hat in the recent past, maybe in the month of February or in the month of May. We are again recruiting in the month of November and things like that. So we are consistently recruiting. Of course, we may not have jobs as large as other bigger giant companies like TCS or Cognizant or Accenture or Wipro. They may take in thousands, but we take in few, maybe 40, 20, 50, 75. But we give preference to only those Red Hat academies where students are trained and certified in Red Hat technologies. So what is the meaning of value add? So always, everybody, even you and me, will always give a little value for the value add. Let's assume in the example one, there is one of them, you and me, we are getting a salary. That's it, nothing else. Example two, we're getting salary plus a little breakfast whenever we go to office every day, and also transport facility. These two things, breakfast, tea, coffee, plus transport facility, we generally call it as a value add. So, most of the times the salaries remain same between company one and company two. Only this is value add, additional. Let's take an example of three, where not only they give the cab facility and the breakfast, but they also give you certain other facilities like a transport or a LTA, it's called as leave travel allowance, or they give you yearly once of family anniversary celebration funds, 2,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, and things like that. So there are several companies who does it. So these are all called as value add. When you are given an offer, you would prefer to work in a company where only salary but nothing else, or you would like to work in a company where you get additional value adds. Obviously, additional value adds. Any individual, they like to have a little coffee in a break, which is a facility given by the company. Why not? So, in this sense, in this concept, even when we recruiters come to a company, come to a college to recruit students, when there are students who are having, everybody are having on an aggregate 60, 65, 67, 69, 60, 80, 70% and things like that. We prefer to take those students who are 60 plus with the value added certificates. One certificate, very good. Two certifications, fantastic. Three certifications, 100% I want to give job to that particular student who's having more value added certificates rather than a non-value add. Even if the student is having a little 2-3 percentage less, even if the percentage of the student's career is around 62, but he's having 3 value added certificates, I prefer to take that gentleman into Red Hat, or any corporate would do that, rather than looking at somebody who is at 70, 72 and things like that. So Linux is a core skill for all IT professionals. There's no limitation. Even if the student is not necessarily an IT or a computer science graduate, even if he's a polytechnic or a BA, BCom, BSc, MBA, MCom, MTech, or even MCA students, they are also capable of getting an IT job. Only thing is you should be technically skilled and you should have global certificate. This is what it matters. Now, talking about how do we certify students consistently? Sir, what is Red Hat doing to associate with students and give them these value-added certificates consistently? So we have a division called as Red Hat Academy. Red Hat Academy, or we in simple words called as RHA. So RHA is associated always through a partner like IPSR. IPSR is one of our partner, not only for our regular business, but also for certified training partners for academy, CTPA. So what Red Hat does is we associate with certain academical institutions and convert their institution as a Red Hat Academy by incorporating Red Hat training and certification within your campus. This is what we call it as Red Hat Academy. So what are the benefits? Why should Red Hat work with colleges, or why should college work with Red Hat? What are the benefits? Yes, there are some benefits. Students, which is generally a paid service, will get free content, free access to the courseware in the form of HTML content during that college period. Every student, even those exams, certification exams, are cost at around 50% discount. Faculty members will get 75% because they are acting as an ambassador. They'll also be made to attend train the trainer program. But of course, our partner faculty can also come to your college and conduct the exam. The exams can be conducted within your campus. And we also come every often, like how I'm doing this session today, or how ML is going to do the session next. So we consistently come to your college and give you some guidelines, expert guidelines regarding global certifications, and ensure that you're getting best career opportunities in your life. So these are all some of the benefits. Of course, we have, I told you in the beginning, we are having about 60 different courses. Having said that, we cannot offer all the courses to the college student because college student comes with a minimum knowledge or a limited skill set. So that's where we are having core system administration, like system administration level 1, level 2, level 3. These are the courses that we teach at the core system administration. We also provide students to learn cloud computing technologies like Red Hat OpenStack administration, or it could be introduction to containers, Kubernetes, and OpenShift. Red Hat OpenShift. Even if somebody is interested to become developers, yes, we have courses Red Hat Application Development 1, programming in Java, or Red Hat Application Development implementing microservices architecture. So all of this generally will be a 32 hours or 40 hours type of a teaching. Generally, we don't teach it continuously for 3 days, 4 days in college. We may teach it in 15 days, 20 days. You will have to touch base with our partner programs. Our partner IPSR or your college authority will help you how to associate. And these exams are also conducted within your campus or through remote certification modes. Once you get certified, you will be called as Red Hat Certified System Administrator or Red Hat Certified Engineer, Red Hat Certified Enterprise Application Developer, or Red Hat Certified Enterprise Microservices Developer. So these are the 4 different certifications that are available for students in the college environment. Whether you become a container specialist, data scientist, DevOps specialist, security specialist, or it could be database expert, solution architect, machine learning, the entry point is nothing but a Linux Foundation or a Red Hat Certified System Administration type of a course. Once you learn Red Hat System Administration, you have diversified environments to go into different technologies. So what I want to say is it all starts from Red Hat Enterprise Linux and Red Hat System Certified System Administrator. That's all I have. So thank you so much for listening to me for last 45 minutes.